Peter Drucker said that the only thing that's going to matter in the 21st century would be the know-how of how to take care of the one thing, guide your direction in life, and how life can change and how you can create the life you want instead of letting time and chance determine your course. Now, well, today is going to be a game changer for your future. And to tell you more about this, we're going to introduce you to our guest, Shirish Gupta, in a moment. Now, welcome, Shirish, to Seekh Talks. I'm Guraj Singh Shahpuri. I'm a business turnaround coach, and I'm proud to be hosting today's Seekh Talk. Seekh Talks is an initiative by the Sikh Chamber of Commerce and Samir Singh. It's a platform where we bring you icons and achievers and change makers from diverse backgrounds. We create learning through listening and engagement with speakers. Now, once again, today we're fortunate to have with us Shirish Gupta. Now, Shirish is an eminent youth educationist. He has more than 10 years of experience in creating leaders. And he is on a mission to empower and create 1 lakh youth leaders by April 3rd, 2023. Now, that's a very specific date, so we'll ask him about that in a moment. Now, he's also the founder of multiple education companies, including Mnemonic Education and Empowering Youth Leaders, etc. Shirish is a keynote speaker at various global education conferences, and he's been conducting numerous workshops and seminars across the country. Now, Shirish has also been featured in numerous television programs and newspapers and magazines and articles, including Z News just recently, and the Times of India, and the Financial Times, and others. Welcome, Shirish, and thank you for taking your valuable time to be here. Now, also welcome viewers, and thank you for taking your valuable time to be here. You're going to get a lot of learnings today from our topics and from our host, and it's our hope that you walk away with the game plan. Now, the key things that you're going to take away from today's talk are how to be extremely productive without being busy. That's the first one. Secondly, having the ability to connect on the various things of the various parts of life without getting confused about where you are at. And number 3 is how to get better and massive results in your life beyond your expectations in a positive way, so that you have a secured future. And we're going to make you do this for sure. And by the way, do stay till the end, because Shirish has a surprise for you. He's going to give you a surprise bonus tip that he's going to reveal right at the end. So welcome, Shirish. Welcome to our program. So wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much, Guraj. Thank you for having me for this wonderful opportunity. And I think you're doing tremendous work with the Seekh Talks for sure. So thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Acha, now I'm going to give everybody the rules of engagement. To everybody who's tuning in right now, here are the rules. Viewers, over the next 45 minutes, Shirish and I are going to do our job by giving you some hard-hitting thoughts, some ideas, and some solutions, and the best secrets that the billionaires of the world don't want you to know. And I want you to do your job by dropping in your comments and questions. I'm going to put them on the screen at the right time. So we're going to ask Shirish a lot of questions about the topic. And anytime you have a relevant question, or anytime I ask, guys, put up your questions, please put them up. And then when it's relevant, when Shirish is answering something, I'll throw up that question and we're going to storm him with some additional questions. Shirish, are you ready?
Yes, absolutely. Go on.
Say I'm ready.
I'm perfectly huge ready. Come on.
Okay, great. So Shirish, I'd love to talk to you about how you were a banker and an educationist, but let's go right into iLEAD. Now, I guess iLEAD is related to leadership. Is this a 21st century leadership skill?
Well, yes and a no. Yes, leadership is the main iLEAD, which is what we're going to talk about today. But it's not the skill, because it's a very specific type of leadership skill that we're going to talk about today. Yeah. Now, before we go on with that, let me just tell you there are 3 types of leadership, what I have explored from my research, from my work in the last 1 decade. The 3 types of leadership is, the number 1 leadership is called personal leadership, right? As the name says, personal leadership. Yes, it's about leading the self, right?
Yeah.
The second leadership type is called the influence leadership, right?
Yes.
So influence leadership is actually having people and when you lead different people. And then the third level is what I call is the impact leadership. Now, impact leadership is where you create certain solutions for the world problems where you can have a clear impact on the world itself. So these are the three main leadership styles that we have, basically.
Okay, so I am enough to tell people about influence leadership, because that's what I teach. So I'm going to ask you, the other two. And let's get into personal leadership, because actually I want to ask you, am I correct in guessing that is this the one we're going to talk about today? Is personal leadership or influence or impact, or are we talking about all three today?
Oh, actually, we're talking about personal leadership,
Okay,
and that's
I
a very,
guess. Okay, good.
yes.
Because yeah, and that's the most relevant, I guess. Okay, so tell us about personal leadership.
Yeah, so I think you rightly said about Peter Drucker, right? He said very famously that the only thing that matters in 21st century is personal
Yeah,
leadership. In fact, a report by McKinsey in the year 2000 said the only type of leadership that will matter in 21st century is
yeah,
leaders self. So it's the same with left self leadership.
yeah.
Now, I define personal leadership through a short story, right? Are you ready for a short story, Guraj?
We love stories. I'm going to get at the edge of my seat already.
Perfect. So
And
I'm
then
going to tell you.
if our listeners and our viewers, if you guys like stories, just put up a thumbs up to stories. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Shirish.
So I think what I actually defined. So there was this man who was riding this horse, and
Yeah.
it seems like he was in a hurry of going somewhere because the horse was galloping very fast. So a man on the side was standing there and watching, and then he asked him, "It's like, hey, where are you going?" To the man replied, "I don't know. Ask the horse." Right? now, now this is exactly what is happening in today's world. Most of the times, most of the people are actually being driven away by either time or by chance or by their
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
Personal leadership is what I call to give you back that control, to bring
Yeah.
that leadership style inside of you so that you can actually guide the life direction and create the life that you really want and not
Yeah.
be dependent on the time or chance or environment around you. So I define personal leadership as something that you gain back control of your life and guide your direction and create your own life.
Okay. So then tell me, uh, firstly, tell us more about personal leadership and tell us the things that it's made of, because there's got to be, it probably is a deep topic here. And I want to know specific skills, specific traits that hum jaake hum le sakein, because I know leadership leads to success. Wo kya gun hai, if you can tell us that if we were able to create in ourselves, we would say, okay, I'm on the journey of personal leadership.
Right. So I think we defined the three types of leadership, right? So we said personal, influence, and impact. So
Okay.
we try to start working on influence and impact before we start leading ourselves, right? Now I have developed this model where in personal leadership it consists of three things actually, right? The
Okay.
first thing is your mindset. You
Yeah.
need to have that unshakable mindset and belief in yourself that you can really lead yourself, right? So that's called mindset number one. Number two is your skill set. Now, I'm not talking about skill set of going in communication and this public speaking or something. Skill set for me here are very specific. Decision making, because that's very, very important. And then in today's world, what we need is creativity, right? So something if we can defeat the machines is our
Yeah.
creativity. So skill set, a leader is always with that skill set of creativity. The
Yeah.
third thing is your attitude. Now, unfortunately, in our education system, we are not teaching kids or students or people around
Yeah.
about the value of resilience, about
Yeah.
how to fail and fail successfully. That means learn from your failures. So,
Absolutely.
third thing, very important, is your attitude in terms of resilience. And when you have that ownership of your life to create
Yeah.
your own life. So, three things:
Yeah.
mindset, skill set, and attitude.
I've put that on the screen for our viewers. And I think that last one you said, the resilience, Shirish, this is more important than you think. And I'm going to get into something very different and something very personal here. I've seen that kids who are growing up nowadays, and even parents, they're allowing their kids to give up on things. And why not? You know, when you and I were growing up, I'm a little older to you, but when you and I were growing up, I was in India for about 3.5, 4 years, and हमारे TV पर ना, we used to just get that one channel, Doordarshan. Okay? And we were so excited when DD2 came out, but it was worse than DD1. So we just had the one channel, and we didn't have much. Also, whenever we started an activity, whenever we started anything that we wanted to learn, we never gave it up because there was no choice. If I told my parents कि अब मैंने ये चीज नहीं सीखनी, that was not a choice of mine. And we weren't flipping channels, changing things. We were always single focused. We were committed to things that we learned. Now, even
Right.
I'll tell you, this is something very personal. My parents had a nice marriage, but I don't know if they had a lot of love for each other,
Right.
because there was a huge age gap between them. I always saw that there was commitment between them. And
Mm.
maybe they fell in and out of love. I don't know. But
Mm.
commitment wo hamesha thi. But if you look at a lot of the youth today that are growing up, that are getting married in the last 5, 10 years, wouldn't you agree with me? They're having a tremendously high, a dangerously high divorce rate.
Yep.
Haven't
Yep.
you seen that? Yeah. वो चीज उनसे पहले वाली generation में नहीं थी. My generation did not have that. And even though we fight just like cats and dogs, like everybody else, but for some reason we stick together. I think वो commitment वाली चीज जो है ना. So I think this attitude that you're saying, that resilience, that
Yes.
actually transpires into huge real life benefits. And I think that if parents just don't allow their kids to give up on things. And बच्चा
Yes.
कहेगा ना कि पापा गिटार छोड़नी है. Firstly, the kid is the one who begged the parents कि सिखाओ सिखाओ सिखाओ, and now he wants to leave it because it's hard. Because it's hard. They like to leave everything that's hard. I think if parents just say, okay, you can leave it. आज है हमारा 17th of April, 18th April को छोड़ देना. 2021. कि एक साल in that, I think that attitude might shift. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And Gulraj, I think I always mention the what we lack these days and why we don't develop personally, like lack of consistency. So what you're talking about is lack of consistency. And when we talk about resilience, we're not teaching them if they're failing, they just feel like fear of failure. I did a
Yes.
survey with so many people, and 95% students actually said fear of failure is the biggest problem before achieve
Wow.
for them to achieve like success. 95%, you know?
95. That, I mean, that's an overwhelming result. Did you do this study recently, or has it been a while?
Yeah, it's just about about 12 to 14 months back. Yeah, I mean
Oh,
it's pretty
wonderful.
recent. Yeah.
Wonderful. I know that you're very closely tied up with a lot of schools, so you have access to a lot of kids in doing these studies. Okay, so let's get into the how, because this is what we're all here for. देखो, what हमें समझ आ गया है, why हम
Yes.
create कर लेंगे. Let's get into the how.
Mm.
How does
Mm.
one develop personal leadership? What is the process?
So I've simplified the process. I'm a big fan of simplification. I take
Yeah,
complex stuff and I simplify it. Right now,
that's
for that, I have to ask 4 questions. I'm a big fan of question thinking because I believe it's not the answers. It's about asking the right questions that will give you the right answer and direction. So I'm gonna ask you 4 questions, and Guraj, if it's a good idea for our viewers to just jump in and answer these questions as we talk about one by one, and let's just see
absolutely.
what they come up with.
In fact, I have my scrap sheet of paper, so I'm going to answer these questions myself as well. But viewers, what we need you to do is jump in with your answers. And as soon as you feel that you want to put up your answer on the screen, put it on. I'll throw it on the screen. Okay. So Shirish, what's the first question?
Okay, the first question, it's pretty simple. It says, what do you want? As simple
Yeah.
as that. What do
Okay.
you want, right? Most of the times, people are not even aware about what they want, right? They
Yeah.
feel like, I want to achieve success. But what's the
Yeah.
definition of success? I want to have financial money. How much money? They don't have
Yeah.
specifics. And I always say the analogy, if I ask you to run a race today, right?
Yeah.
Is it make sense to know whether it's a 100-meter race or it's a 42-kilometer marathon, because my strategy will change completely, right?
Yeah.
So having the goal, having the vision is the first trait of the leader, having that personal leadership quality in you. So that's the question number one. Simple and easy. Question number one is, what do you want? Simple.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. So now, if our viewers can write that on the screen, and I'll also make my note. Okay. That was easy. Now moving on. What is question number 2?
Right. So once we know what do you want, the second question.
Just one sec. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I promised the viewers I'm going to throw some of these questions on the screen. So let's do that here as well. All right. So Mamta says, I want mental satisfaction. I have written happiness. All right.
Good.
Another thing a lot of people want is family life. People want generally things I'm talking about. A lot of people want personal development. A lot of
Right.
people just want overall nirvana. Take it, peace
Right.
of mind. Anji.
Right. So I think what Mamta is asking, I want mental satisfaction. It's good, but I need more specifics in that. You need to go more specifics. What do you mean by mental satisfaction? For somebody, it could be money. For somebody, it could be health. For somebody, it could be spending time with family. So they have different definition to it, right? Always have that. What do you really want? So like, if I say, if somebody says, I want success, so what do you mean by that? So refine a little bit, get to more specifics, and when you get to
what is that?
and
How do we measure success?
Yeah, and Guraj, when you mentioned and when you were reading, it's like I'm gonna ask Shirish about that's very specific 1 lakh youth empowered by April 3rd, 2023. That's
Yeah,
why I'm so specific. Now I can measure it, right? That's the whole
yeah,
idea.
absolutely. Okay, so we have contentment, we have be happy in life, we have oops, a bunch of stuff coming up. All right. So, and contentment to heart. All right. Now, okay. So, what's the second question? Let's move on to the second question.
Right. So once you answer what the second question, and I think you should pay very close attention to it because this is one question we all miss. Most of the people they miss this question. It's very very important. The second question is why do you want it? Why do you want it? Right now, a lot of times we don't understand the gravity of that question. But the moment you
Yeah.
say why, it attaches your emotional. It attaches your emotional connect with that goal. And if you don't have that emotional connect, you cannot achieve that particular goal, right? And
Yeah.
specifically, emotions, for the wonderful thing they have the
Yes.
ability to override the reason and do something which is way beyond your expectation and limitation. So I say the
Yeah.
second question is always, why do you want it? Think about it. The best way of doing it, what I do is just I close my eyes and I think about that goal, why I want
Yes.
to do it, right? And once you have a mental image of why do you want to do it,
Yes.
now you can go on and you can write down and you can start working towards this particular goal itself, right?
Now,
So once you have, yeah, go on.
what exercise or what methodology can I use to get to the why? Because why itna easy nahi hota hai. Because at the surface of it, we can just say, well, why not? Auro ke paas bhi hai, mere paas kyun na ho? Or ye hoega to mere life mein khushi aayegi.
Right.
How? What do you have any tips or exercise that we can go deeper and really catch our why? Okay, to go right into the subconscious level.
Right. So I'll tell you a very, I think you'll get a good idea about this story. So I was working with this one person and then I asked, what do you want? And they said, I want money. I want financials. I said, why
Yeah.
do you want? Why do you want money? So of course, the first thing we talk about, oh, I want car. He has it. I think I deserve it. I'm worth it and everything. I said, get more specific, more specific. Then we actually found out what, after some time, it just like found out that it says, it gives me freedom. Now you're understanding why. Because if I have money, I can get freedom to do whatever I want, not to
Yeah.
worry about to put food on my plate, on my families, or anything like that. Now, the best way I tell people how you go about it is actually, first of all, doing a visualization. And if you can do, it's not a difficult process, but I think if you have to do it, it's probably another talk some other day. But try to find out your values because our values derives us, right?
Yeah.
So if you find out your values and then you see your why, that's the best mapping together to get that why actually, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple of things that I've shared in this quick things that you can get the why for sure.
Absolutely. No, I guess once you align it with the values, then your why ko कहते हैं ना दूध का दूध पानी का पानी, then you can really know whether it actually even mattered or not. And if it
True.
is not consistent with your values, throw it out because you're never going to get it anyways because you're not consistent.
And
You're not congruent inside and out. Okay.
yeah, and
So
Guraj, I just want to add on to this point. Like a lot of people, they believe value identification is very difficult. Actually, it's very simple. We think a businesses will have a value, but as a personal leader, you should have your own value actually. So it's not very difficult. You just have to spend some time, and once you get it, oh, your life will be magical.
okay, good. I'm hoping for. Okay, how about question number 3?
Okay, great. Now, question number 3 is pretty simple. Now we have what and why. Now we say if
Yeah.
you want to go from point A to point B, how can I be there? So the third question is how can you reach your goal? So it's basically coming up now. You are actually writing down the action plan. You're actually writing down a roadmap for you from where you are to where you want to go. So that's why. Now I'm going to tell you a great activity of doing it through a story. Okay, and again,
Okay.
as we are a big fan of stories,
Big fan.
I'm going to tell
Just,
you a very interesting story. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps. I hope we all know who Michael Phelps
yeah,
is,
the
right?
swimmer, of course.
So Michael Phelps, yes, the Olympic swimmer, the most celebrated Olympian in the history of the sport, right? Now, as a teenager, he was very nervous while going to the swimming pool, right? And then his coach, Bonan, would probably say, Michael, watch the videotape. Now, that videotape was a mental videotape. It was not a real videotape. Now, he would say to Michael that, Michael, go and watch the videotape of a perfect race. every night before sleeping and every morning after waking up, you have to watch this video tape. And
Yeah.
what Michael used to do, he used to imagine this entire perfect race, right from taking his stance, diving into the pool, taking his strokes in the slow motion and everything. What
Yeah.
he did with those things, and he said the biggest reason for his success is those videotapes. Now, what he did, he actually laid down the path of how he's going to win a race, how he is
Yeah.
going to win the Olympic medal. And then he even imagined to such detail of ripping off his cap, his famous signature style, which is there, right?
You will realize the whole
So
thing.
he visualized the whole thing, right? So I generally say, I just call these as your subconscious programs. What he did,
Yeah.
he actually activated his subconscious programs and he created, and it's not difficult. What I generally advise people, once you have the goal and once you can see where you want to achieve, let's say I want to be empowering, let's say 100,000 students, right? Now what I
Mhm.
did, how I'm going to do that, I imagined it and I created a subconscious program for myself, and I keep looking it, keep watching it in my head every night. So what's happening, I'm training my mind, how will I reach it? And
Yes.
the more I watch it, the more it gets imprinted in my mind. So that's the third
Oh
question,
my God.
how you gonna.
This is incredible because I remember when I was very young, I think I was 11 or 12 years old, and हमारे school में sports day होना था. So I signed up for the 800-meter race. Now I wasn't the best runner, and I knew if I practiced, I was becoming faster and faster by the day. And my school was a bit far, so I used to have to practice in the morning. And on the days where I would just tell my father, "नहीं पापा आज नहीं उठना, आज नहीं उठना." It was winter days. मैं Canada की बात कर रहा हूँ. It was dark outside in the mornings at 5 a.m. And my father would accompany me with the torch, and we would go out and run. And I remember on the days when I used to not want to do it, my father would always say, "Okay, beta, close your eyes and think that you're standing at the podium. Think
Wow.
that they're clapping for everybody, and then you look to the right and you look to the left, and you think, there can only be one number one, and you're standing at the number one spot, and you bow your head, and they put the medal." So that whole story, that Michael Phelps thing, my God, really took me back to my childhood. Okay, so
What are the
now
memory names?
thank you for that. What is the fourth question for developing personal leadership?
All right, so this is my favorite question, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell this question, and I say just feel this question when you hear this question, right?
Yeah.
The moment we write what, why, and how, we
Yes.
we complete our system. We'll say most of the people will say this is that, but I
Yeah.
have a fourth question, the most important question of all the four.
Yes.
That question is it fun? Is it
Ah,
fun?
yes.
Will you enjoy this journey, right? Most of the times when I say and I ask it, like I want to have good grades, I want to have like money and everything, I said, do you want to enjoy this? What I generally say, we focus too much on achieving goals and too little on having fun. And I say, make fun your priority in your life so that
Yeah.
you enjoy the journey also. So the fourth question is it fun? How do you do that? Very simple. If you have written all the three questions right up there, now you're going to have the fourth, and you just want to close your eyes and you just visualize, is it fun? If whatever I'm doing, is it fun for me to get there? And mostly it will come from how, right? Your entire timeline. And we'll say, if it comes as fun, then it's amazing. But if it's not, and lot many times, trust me, Gulraj, I have so many people who come and say, oh, I have done so much work, but it's not fun. I say, change it, because you will not be able to stick with it if it's not fun for you, because it becomes a stress for you at some time. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's the fourth
I'm
question.
procrastinating some things today just because they're not fun, and I have to do them, and I think I'll actually have to change my game plan around them so I don't have to do them because they're not fun for me. They're not fun for me at all.
And find somebody, maybe it's fun for them.
Yeah, yeah,
you know
absolutely. Okay, no, you really got me thinking. All right, now I believe these are all excellent questions, but why do you think these questions work for developing personal leadership?
Oh,
Why
great.
is it four questions, Sandy Batao?
I think glad you asked this question, because I think when I talk about those four questions and they say generally it's a different approach towards it. But what I have done, I've actually crystallized and I've simplified the process. Why these questions they work? It's very simple. What do you want is giving you clarity, right?
Yeah.
Clarity about your goals, about your vision, about what you want to do in life. Why do you want to do it? It's actually attaching your values, your purpose with what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
The third question, when we say about how will you achieve it, it's all about action plan and actually visualizing a roadmap from this point to this point, right? And then the fourth question, is it fun? It's just like energizing yourself. If you don't energize by achieving that goal, it just becomes a burden on you, and you don't enjoy it at all. So if you see, it's all about clarity, it's about purpose, about values, but I've crystallized it to so much of the everyday basic life. And these questions, they work magically, trust me. I mean, really magically on that.
I think that now is the time I should ask you. You said April 3rd, 2023, you're going to impact 1 lakh students. Why April 3rd, 2023?
So when we say what I want to do, so I said I want to do, I want to empower young leaders. I want to create more young leaders. And I was like, so if you know, there was a research which said that we need hundreds of Bill Gates, we need hundreds of Mark Zuckerberg in coming few years, and there will be. And the major chunk will come from the youth, people who are like probably in the age of 15, 16 to about 20, 25 years of age.
Yeah.
Now, when I say empowering them, and I'm so specific, because if you have a goal and if you can measure that goal, then only you'll be successful in that goal. I have created a date for myself. April 3rd was just the first date came to my mind 3 years from, now I did this in February this year. And it's like every year I do that goal setting. I said 3 years from now, I'm going to do that. Why I did that? Because year on year, I can measure it. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so specific. And always when you have that goal, be specific. Like, for example, I'll just give you a very short example. If it's like, I want to lose weight, that's not a specific goal. If you say, I want to lose 10 kgs, or I want to be in target weight of from 80 kgs to 70 kgs. Now I'm very specific. Now I know my target goal is to be 70 kgs. That's how we work with goal settings. So yeah, that's why it's so specific.
It works because many years ago, my wife had this goal, okay, we are going to move to Gurgaon. Okay? And I didn't know why she wanted to move. We used to live in Delhi in those days, in South Delhi. And I said, nahi, Gurgaon is the Wild West. Wahan main to zindagi mein kabhi nahi jaunga. As it is, I only go twice a year. That place is chaotic, this, that. But she had a goal. She had such a specific goal. She knew exactly where she's going to move in Gurgaon. Kaun si community, because Gurgaon is all about these gated communities. कौन से building, क्योंकि the community has east side and west side, so she already figured out कि east side is better than west क्योंकि थोड़ी सी cheaper है, plus this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then she also knew out of the 5 towers which one she wants to be in. Why? Because the other ones are, some have a good view, some don't. And then she also knew specifically 4th floor to 8th floor, इसके बीच में ही रहना है. Why? Because anything above it gets too hot. Anything below it, कि लोग हमारे घरों में देख सकेंगे. And do you know where we live now? That lady, she was so strong on her goal that one day when I said to her, "Jo chahiye mere se le lo," because one day we came so close to, I think she wanted to leave me one time in life, and I just one day मैंने हाथ जोड़ के पूछा कि जो मेरे से चाहिए ले लो, and she says, "I want to move to Gurgaon." I said, "Done." Within 2 days, वो Thursday था, by Saturday, we were looking at apartments in Gurgaon, in that very community, between the 4th and 8th floor, and we finalized an apartment on the 4th floor in the exact same community she wanted to live in, because that is the value of being specific.
And I'm going to add one more thing, Gulraj, here. I think in the very beginning, when you say about the takeaway from being productive and busy, I said that's a big difference. When you are productive, you're more focused. When you're busy, you're frantic. You're frantically doing certain things. And you get that focus when you have specifics with you. So that's the reason. And that's a fundamental takeaway which we discussed in the beginning. So yeah, I think relating to that, why not?
Now, the Mukul and some of the other viewers are putting up their questions on the side. We're going to get to all the questions because we're going to start the question countdown in a couple of minutes. I still wanted to ask a couple of more things of you, and then we're going to get to the bonus tip at the end also. But Shirish, ek cheez batao. I am sure that there might be some pitfalls and challenges that people face. What are the common challenges and pitfalls that people face finding their personal leadership?
I think excellent question. In my journey, what I've seen people actually having challenges by developing their personal leadership. So the number one I would say is lack of self-realization. We underestimate ourselves. We underestimate our.
Simplified. That's too confusing. What do you mean?
Oh, Simple. So it's about lack of self-awareness. I don't even know what I'm capable of doing. I always underestimate myself, right? So when I say it's always underestimating myself about my potential, right? And I have that. So same thing which I said about the mindset, right? So that's number one. Number
Yeah.
two is lack of consistency, right? So simple. Like you said, as an example, you grab on something, you will do so for some time, and then you leave it. Now, I tell you a very short story of how I developed consistency. I was frustrated with my habit of not keeping my keys in the right place. Trust me, right?
Okay.
And
That is,
and and it was a way back, and I had that laptop bag where we had that hook to put your keys there. And for the 30 days, without fail, I promised myself I'm going to put this to in my hook for 30 days. And
yes.
I deliberately, consciously did for 30 days, just keeping that thing. And I got
Yeah.
so much happiness after those 30 days of time. So consistency is the key. The third thing is the lack of regular feedback,
Yeah.
or I would say you don't measure your goals. So ideally, you should probably have a like-minded community or a coach or a mentor or a guide who can actually give you feedback, because our
Yes.
mind will try to prove us right, but feedback is very, very important. So yeah, summing up, I think those three were the biggest challenges for people. Yes.
Actually, I like the way you described how you kept your key because one of the things I found, and I read this a long time ago. See, I teach charismatic leadership, and I know कि हमारी अपनी self esteem बढ़ने के लिए ना, if we compliment somebody every single day, it raises our own self esteem because you have
Absolutely.
to be a person of value to be able to call somebody out on their value or compliment somebody on their value. Plus, also it leads to a certain amount of charisma. So what I started doing was every single day I would compliment somebody. And आपने keys की बात की ना, so I always kept my keys in my left pocket. And by the time I came home and I hung up my pants, if my keys were still in the left pocket, I had to quickly go back, call up somebody and compliment somebody and start switching my keys. Because by the end of the day, if my keys did not leave my left pocket and put them in my right pocket, then that means I have not complimented somebody. So anytime I would compliment somebody, I would take my keys, put them in the other pocket, I was done.
Yep.
Now it just became such a strong habit, just like this whole theory you talked about. It's
Yep.
become such a strong habit. कोई ऐसा दिन नहीं है where I don't compliment somebody. So let me give a compliment. By the way, I love the studio you're sitting in. What is that written behind you? क्या लिखा हुआ है?
Oh, it's my favorite quote. I said the key to success is to dream it, believe it, and achieve it. So it's dream, believe, achieve. So that's my mantra. So yes, and yeah, this is my studio. I love being here. Yeah.
Wonderful. मैं एक दिन बड़ा होऊंगा तो I want a studio just like yours. So now I know you read a lot. What are some books that you would like to recommend on leadership, or that general books even that you feel that can teach people a thing or two about leadership?
Again, excellent question, Guraj. I think my favorite books, I would say one of them is Insight by Tasha Eurich. It's an amazing book on self-awareness. So if you get time, read that book.
Insight.
The other book, Insight. The other book is called Ikigai, which is about the purpose
Oh, yeah.
finding.
You don't need
That's
to
an
tell us about this. We had an Ikigai coach and trainer
oh
on the very second Seekh Talk. So he told us
okay,
all about Ikigai. And I didn't
perfect.
even know how to pronounce it. But the problem with Ikigai is people who find their Ikigai often don't want to work anymore in life because they found nirvana, they found bliss.
So so I'm more of a modern person because I work with youth. I tell them how they can blend it together. And something which you said in the beginning, when I was
Yeah.
working on my success, I said I want a success in every area of my life. I don't want my
Yeah.
work to shine through and my personal life to go, for the trash. So that's the whole idea. So I think Ikigai is another one. The other books I would probably say that somebody can read. There's another book called Inner Edge, which is again a great book, great read for people to do that. I've started reading this mindfulness these days, which I really love because I think consciousness. We're gonna head to the age of consciousness. We're living in distracted world. We need to
Yeah.
get to the consciousness state. So mindfulness is great. So these are some of the books I think readers can definitely can read.
Wonderful. Okay, now, Shirish, let's get into the bonus tip. You promised a bonus tip. I'm going to hold you to it. हम आपको जाने नहीं देंगे. And right before I get into questions of the viewers, tell us the
Yep.
bonus tip you were going to give, that one killer tip.
Okay, perfect. So I think I did a lot of research on successful people, right? And I'm gonna share like 2 or 3 main pointers which I have found out, which is very close to me. And I think it should be imbibed with every single one of us. And the number one is just be yourself. a lot of times we try to compare ourselves. And why I say be yourself in this time when we have so much competition, right from the education time, we set that tone of comparisons, we set that tone of competition, and we tend to lose ourselves. We always try to be like somebody else. But I say the key to success, all the great leaders, and Guraj, I'm sure you will agree with that, it's all about being yourself because you have your own personality. You just have to
But
go and explore it.
I'll tell you the problem. I'll tell you the problem. If I was so happy with myself, people would be asking, then why am I not farther? And it's that self, jisse main thoda tang hu, that then if I loved the person I was, then I would be happy. But
True.
what if somebody is not happy with their self? Then you say be yourself. That
Yeah.
doesn't solve the problem. Kya karo?
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I think when you're right on that. So the whole idea is if you're not happy with yourself, you need to do more self-awareness. That's what I said. Try to
Okay.
find out what's the problem. You look in the mirror and it's like, I'm fat, right? So that means you want to lose the weight and you're not getting the motivation maybe. Try to love yourself. The first person you should love yourself, like limitless is yourself. You need to reach to that level. Now, I'm sure there are different ways I can talk about, but generally the best way, which I say again with the visualization, just say, and you wake up every morning, put that sign on your mirror which says, I'm the best. Trust me, it works, right?
It works. It works. And
Right?
now, very related to that, that's why I threw up this question here. Mukul is asking, how do we control our negative thoughts?
Right. So, great question. I always say that how do you control your negative thoughts is actually you need to know the breaking the pattern of the negative thought. Now, how do you break the negative thought pattern? It's simple. When you start having these negative thoughts, be conscious that you're having negative thoughts. The moment you have that negative thought, just ask why. So, for example, I don't think so, I'm good enough. Just ask who said it. And then probably you'll find people around you. Maybe it's like, oh, I think it's me. Okay, why do I think that? So you keep asking the questions. Again, the same thing is you have to break the pattern, right? And there's this famous way of doing it in psychology, which we say if you have this band, you can wear something. The moment
Yeah.
you hear something negative, you just snap it, right? And it was one of the movies, I think, Matt Damon's movie. I'm forgetting the name, but they
I don't know.
popularized it a lot, right? And so it's just breaking the negative pattern. It's simple. Just ask who said it, why it is possible. Just cross question that negative thought. It will go away,
Okay, wonderful.
right?
Now, we have Prakriti is asking that how can we remain motivated all the time to achieve our goals?
Okay, so I think we need to embrace one thing. We need to be very clear about that. It's not you will always be high motivated in your life always. You will have
Yeah,
your ups and downs. Life is always as a sine curve, right? It's like ups and downs. So
yeah,
it's not how to remain motivated at all times, but rather the question should be how should I be, even if I'm not motivated, how I should stay on track. Now, the best way of staying motivated or
yeah,
probably realizing it is again once you have that attitude. So something I talked about attitude is
yeah,
about resilience and ownership. I have my bad days. I'm sure Gulraj, you have your bad days, right?
yeah, yeah.
So when we have a bad days, it's just like I just pause for a moment and I just think about why I'm having this bad moment, what I want, and I try to realign with it rather than fighting with that emotion. Embrace that emotion. That's the best way of doing it, actually.
So I tell you what I've been doing about my bad days. क्योंकि आजकल lockdown time है ना, थोड़ा सा वो that can creep up on you. So for me, because I've been a big fan of making lists and stuff like that, I just go to my list and see, okay, great. These are the things I had to do. These are the things I've done. So I look for small
Yeah.
achievements. Then I start feeling good, and then that motivates me to do the big achievements, and it also keeps me focused on my goals because every morning I read my list of big goals and I
Yeah.
prime myself. Do you ever do that? Do you ever? I know that you believe in a lot of self-talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, about that, in fact, because I've heard some wonderful stuff about you about self-talk.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think specifically, I do write down my goals and everything. And when we talk about writing it down, I say having that self-talk, inner self-talk, is very, very important, right? Whenever you have a goal, you want to achieve something, just ask yourself. Whenever I'm feeling a little fidgety, I just pause and I ask myself, what's happening? And I close myself, what's the emotion? Pop comes the answer, and then I know, okay, I'm not liking it. Okay, I have to change my direction. That's how you just need practice to build on this. One more thing, what you said, Gulraj, on that, I always say instant way of doing it is just stop and be grateful for what you have in life. I know
Yeah,
most of the people, they sometimes they don't agree, but that works like magic. just be grateful for this life. I think even in the lockdown period, you're getting so much time. You're not infected. You're staying home. At least you're protected. Your family is safe. Be
Yeah,
grateful for that.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
gratitude is very important, right? The Yeah,
Please
go
go
on.
ahead. No, no,
So
no,
I
go
think
ahead.
the other thing which I just want to mention about the secret, because you asked me, there are like a couple of them which I found out I really want to share. I always say to people, like, it's okay to make mistakes, but learn from your mistakes. What we do in conventional period of time, we say
Yeah,
mistakes are bad. So it's okay to make mistakes as far as you learn from it.
yeah,
Steve Jobs, when he came back to Apple in 1997, he
yeah.
saw the product list of Apple and he thought it's a great
Huge,
mistake to have so many. And he
huge.
and he huge, and he just like cut all of them 70%. Then he focused, and I think Apple was about $1 billion in debt just like
Yeah,
after a year,
they
was
were
about,
burning through cash. They were burning through cash.
yeah, and they were like $300 million profit just a year later. So I
Yeah,
always say learn from your mistakes. And the third one, which I generally say, it's be the owner of your life. Don't give up, what we talked about, right?
that's
And on this, I always mention Thomas Edison. We know 10,000 times enough. I want to share another story. He was a poor kid being said he cannot do anything which is intelligence.
yeah,
His teachers told him that he should do something which is not intelligent. And
yeah,
look at that guy. His love towards creating science and everything, not giving up, got him to invent the light bulb. I think we all are doing, I
yeah.
mean, living through his invention. So, these
Absolutely.
are some of the secrets you should probably live by every day.
Now he owns an uncountable amount of patents. Okay, Viva is asking, how can we actually set appropriate goals for ourselves?
Okay, now I think setting the appropriate goal for yourself, it's totally depends on you. You need to be realistic, right? I understand that. When I say imagine big, but then you break it down to more realistic time of your goals.
Yes,
How do you set it? It actually depends on what goal are you trying to do. And always remember, in goal, have something you can measure. Don't just say I want success. Something where I can measure what is success to me. Should I go and help 10 people? Is that success to me? Should I go and earn $1 million? That's success to me. So have
yeah.
something which you can measure. Yeah.
Now, one final question here, and then we're going to call it a day. Rishi's asking, and this is a very deep and serious question here, so brace yourself. He's asking, okay, how can the youth today avoid toxins and other substances to focus more on attaining leadership and a dream future, especially when getting intoxicated, getting high gives a great sense of relaxation and makes people feel good about themselves?
So I say one thing: the biggest addiction is actually if you have a dream to follow. That's the biggest addiction, right? And when you talk about these addictive materials, you know why youth are getting into these things? Because they're distracted. Now, I always say the opposite of distraction is not focus. The opposite of distraction is attraction. Whatever they're doing in their current life, they're not
Yeah,
attracted. That's why they're running away. And all these things, what happens, they numb your mind. They close down your ability to think and discuss and reason and everything. And that's what gives you high. Not just these things, even people are addicted to Netflix or social media, is because they don't have attraction. So I say
yeah.
create your goals so attracted that you don't have any other distraction or any other addiction than working on your goals. So
Wow.
create an attraction. That's what I generally say. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wow, the questions keep on coming, and I'm going to tell how people can get in touch with you. But first, Shirish, a big thank you. Shirish, thank you
Thank
for
you.
being part of our program. It's so wonderful you took your valuable time to be with us. Now, if the viewers want to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
So I think thank you so much, Kulraj, for having me here. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and the best way of reaching me is I think through my social media. You can follow me on Instagram. My account is Shirish G, so you can follow me Instagram or Facebook. My website is shirishg.com. You can get all the answers from that. SHIRISHG. That's in my Gupta.
The letter
Shirishg.com.
G. The letter E, not J. Okay.
Not J. I know. No, I'm not
That's
that.
way too much
Not,
respect. We
no,
should
not
be.
that egoistic or respected. It's just like my surname happens to be Gupta, so it's G. So it's
Okay.
S H I
And
R I S H.
how about an email address? Because that would be the easiest to reach you.
So my email ID will be hello, Hello, hello at shirishg.com.
Okay.
SHIRISHG
I'll
dot
just put
com.
it up on the screen. Where there you go.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Hello at
Great.
shirishg.com. That's right.
So if our viewers have any more questions for Shirish, and I know some questions are still coming in, please do email him. And I know, Shirish, that he's a very conscientious person. He will get back to you. Thank you once
Absolutely.
again, Shirish. So nice
Thank
of you to be here. It was fabulous. I'm telling you, you have changed a lot of stuff for me. Now, I'm just going to sign off. Seekh Talks is made possible by Samir Singh. So a big thank you to Samir Singh and the Sikh Chamber of Commerce. We are being streamed live on 3 Facebook pages and 2 YouTube channels. And if you enjoyed today's talk, please do give us a huge thumbs up and write a comment. And if you love today's talks, do subscribe to the channel and do hit the notification bell, because that way you'll get notified the next time we go live. Now, speaking of next time, join me on Monday when we go live with the one and the only Gunjan Amrit Kochar. She is a yoga therapist and a teacher, and she'll be telling us about how to cleanse our mind by teaching us daily practices for the mind. Oh, yes, also, and here's the bonus. Tomorrow, we're going to be going live with a DJ, and we're going to have a rocking time together. We're going to be playing some wonderful music, and I know, Shirish, you love trance music. That's one of your hobbies. We're going to be going live with dance music. Join us tomorrow, and we'll keep you updated on the time. By the way, I'm Gulraj Singh Shahpuri. Be safe, be at home, keep washing your hands. We love you guys. I'll see you again, same time, same place on Monday, but join us tomorrow for a special program. Thank you, everybody, for being here.